Hello everyone, I'm Professor Ricardo Brito. I'm Dean of the International Business School Americas, and I'd like to thank you very much for connecting and watching this presentation today. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss some important questions to help you plan your career in today's market environment, with companies becoming more and more international every day. My intention is to discuss how to plan your career from a broad strategic perspective. We are going to talk about the transformation of companies' profile, which were multinational companies a little time ago, and today have different and more complex structures. Now, a better term to describe these organizations is transnational corporations. My hope is that after this lecture, you will understand how these changes in the structure will affect your career. If in the past the question of how to advance was answered simply, get a good educational background, speak 2 or 3 foreign languages, now cultural awareness, international experience, practical knowledge, and how to live and work abroad are qualities that companies are looking for during their hiring process. International and local economies increasingly demand cross-cultural communication and teamwork. Managers want to be sure their workers will be effectively working with teams of people from many different cultures and countries. Also, at the end of this chat here, I want to discuss scholarship opportunities to study abroad in very special conditions for you and on periods that do not require you to quit your job. Great? Just a quick reminder, it will be my pleasure hearing from you, your opinions, your questions. We will have a Q&A session, a question and answer session at the end of this chat. All you need to do is to interact live here with us, is to log into the Gmail account and send your questions in our chat at the right side of your screen. Okay? Well, the internationalization of global economy has several phases. Your immediate thought probably go toward the arrival of important products in stores. But internationalization of any economy is by far more complex. Understanding this is worthwhile. Once you understand how a phenomenon works, you can take actions to better prepare yourself, take advantage of every opportunity. Last year, the world economy has broken all FDI records in the world. With this, we have been watching the frenzied international expansion of companies. Companies not only from rich developed countries, but also from emerging countries. Companies looking for opportunities to grow in other markets. We have seen a growth in trade flow, imports and exports, showing that globalization is a trend that's here to come. This news might come as a surprise based upon what you read in the newspapers, with all news pointing towards a trade war, etc. Another observable development with discrete but is still important to internationalization are the strategic partnerships with foreign companies. And you can notice as well the importance of comparing business models and foreign products, which we can call international benchmarking. Today, most of your clients travel abroad, they are clients of foreign companies, they are exposed to the international context. That's why we must rethink our products process using an international perspective. Lots of companies use this tough process and succeed. You should be prepared to do this, to improve with every product or service the way they interact with you. Companies are changing, adjusting their profiles from this old business model, the multinational corporation model, to this new way of acting known as transnational corporations. A multinational corporation in the past replicates its management operational structure in each country it operates, transfer know-how and suppliers between locations, and that's it. A transnational enterprise has one single management structure around the world. The CEO is one country, the human resource in another country, financial director is another country, the production manager is elsewhere, while a multinational would have its management structure replicated in each and every country they want to work in. So a transnational corporation has constellational offices spread around the world, each perform different functions and processes for the same company. How does this new model change your outlook? Well, I would say that it changes everything for you. Changes the management structure, its relationship with other companies, the global control of a company, its relationship with collaborators. So it changes a lot. Take a look at this chart, which I can analyze. You can analyze later if you want. It shows every change in a company's performance, structure, and process. It changes the needs and demands it places on its employees and potential hires. As you like to build a career as a collaborator with or as an employee of a global company, it's important to understand these changes. Traditionally, companies required employees to have a great background or curriculum in having a great versatility of knowledge in thinking in mastering different languages. These attributes are still important, but they now also look for potential hires to have a good level of international experience, intercultural awareness, demonstrating by your history of life that you are capable of living and working with people from other cultures. They don't want just you to see the world as a tourist, but they need you to be able to prove that you are able to work with a multicultural team. We are talking about growing professionally in order to occupy high positions in organizations. In the old multinational structure, you could rise at least until a management level without international experience. However, at the new transnationals, the domestic limits of your career will be quite low without it. Try to understand what I'm trying to attempt to illustrate in this slide that you see in your screen. In a transnational, as you can see, only the operational level and some supervision positions keep the collaborators isolated from the global context within a company. From management to higher positions, all coordinate with foreign collaborators. What we can see from unemployment statistics from all over the world is that low qualified professionals are losing their jobs, but highly qualified professionals, for them, there is still a shortage of labor in the market. Numerous positions remain open in global companies because they can't find enough qualified applicants to fill them. In other words, now, more than ever, it's critical to invest in your education. And my recommendation is that you invest in your education to gain an international perspective. My first suggestion for you is that you approach the international area of your company. Search for opportunities there, if it's the case. International areas of organizations are the ones that have seen highest growth rates recently, and you can take advantage of it. To find success using this approach, I recommend you attend international events, activities, programs to gain experience in this area. It's going to be important for you. And a good tip is to internationalize your area of work, your department. How to do that? Search for international reference to search new ideas, to incorporate international management standards, foreign procedures and products that you may find useful for your job. It will help you to achieve a leadership position, which is going to be important for you. In case you are unemployed, well, take a deep breath and let's plan what to do now. Even in a moment of global crisis, or as a matter of fact, especially during these moments, it's important to think before doing. And my recommendation for you is trying to find opportunities in global companies. These are the companies that are growing faster than the average. They usually pay higher than companies that only explore domestic markets, and these global companies challenge you more, which is good for a young professional. You are probably looking for challenges, not retirement at this point, right? But how we can help you? The contribution that our school provides can be important for you. You can attend one of our international programs abroad without leaving your job, your family, develop mastery in English in a business context, improve and prove your ability to work in global companies by obtaining a certification in academic and the professional world. We offer scholarships. If you want to apply for one of them, don't forget that the deadline to apply is this next Sunday. If you want more information, it will be my pleasure assisting you in this process, answering questions about the programs offered. All you need to do is to succeed in this process, when it's the best moment to travel, etc., etc. You can reach me out responding our email inviting you to this webinar, and I hope we can meet soon to start this important transformation in your professional, academic, and personal development. All right? These programs are organized by IBS Americas and includes visits to companies in the regions where the programs are held. Besides the visit to important organizations, you have the chance to learn current topics of the business world, gain deep knowledge in management, develop your English skills, in case you are not a native speaker, meet people from all over the world, and even better, with the support of a scholarship. So do not miss the chance, get to know our programs, get in touch with us, talk to us by email, schedule a Skype or a phone call, but do not miss this chance of getting a scholarship and travel abroad. Okay? Now I'm gonna start reading the questions that some people have sent in anticipation. And if you want, you can still send your contribution to this discussion by logging into the right side of your screen in the chat tab. All right? I have here a question from the Catholic University of Buvaku from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Mr. Frederick asks, how does African youth can benefit from technology transfer? Well, this is what every emerging country has tried to do in the recent years. They are trying to understand what are the best technologies that can be adapted and transferred to the country they are working on, and try to understand what kinds of benefits technology, information, other kinds of technologies can help not only the youth but the whole population, the whole community to develop their social and economic conditions. One way for you, like I could say, a shortcut for you to access these technologies is traveling, knowing it by yourself, get in touch with foreign companies and taking back to your country these new approaches, these new technologies. Okay, Frederick, thank you very much for sharing your opinions and your question with us. I have here a question from Russia, a student from the Unicom. Mr. Pavel asks, will the professions of analysts in IT be in demand in a few decades? Probably yes. I know that the development of information technology can be very difficult to forecast, but the point in general is that technology is taking over the majority of the business. Even if you are not working in the IT market itself, any other market that you can be working for is probably being affected by IT solutions. So mastering these areas can be very important for your professional development. Okay, Mr. Pavel, thank you very much and looking forward to seeing you. All right. The next question, and I invite you to join us and send other questions if you want. comes from Pakistan, Lahore University of Management Science. Mr. Saad Khan, he shares an information with us. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is a perfect example of globalization. However, for a developing country like Pakistan, what measures should it take to safeguard its economic and social interests? Well, Saad, every country needs to negotiate with their partnering or neighboring countries to develop ties, economic associations, cooperations that provides benefits for both sides. If your country doesn't negotiate well, you may not take as much advantages as you would expect. It's a matter of negotiating properly and enforcing the laws, the rules that are in place during the agreement. In general, what I have seen is a lot of complainings about the the presence of international corporations stealing our money, etc. But this is I don't trust much this kind of complaints. I believe that every country, when they open their borders, try to interact with other countries, benefit more or less, but they are always, or in general, in most cases, they are always benefiting for this kind of association. All right? Thank you, Mr. Saad, for sharing your questions, your opinions with us. Now I have a question from Philippines, the University of San Carlos. Mr. Will Perez asks, in developing economies, would it be better to pursue technopreneurship or social entrepreneurship? Well, Will, I believe you could do both at the same time. I believe companies should try to do their best to social and environmental responsibility actions. It's good for the country, it's good for the community, but it's also good for the company that preserves its image among their clients, enrich their presence in people's minds, and add more value to the delivery of their services and products to their clients. And on top of it, of course, we cannot skip from thinking and working hard on IT-preneurship, as you described here. I liked your expression. The idea of entrepreneuring in areas that are somehow embedded in technology is the fact that everybody now is connected to the internet through mobile devices, thinking of how to improving processes, etc., using the new ITs. And this is a perspective that you should take into consideration when you plan your future. All right? Thank you very much, Mr. Will Perez, for sending your question. I have here another question from Pakistan, Lahore University of Management Science. Mr. Abdullah Ater asks, can tariffs be removed in order for trade volume to increase? Well, Abdullah, that's precisely the point. When you raise tariffs in order to constrain the imports and save jobs in your country, which is a very, very old-fashioned and I believe wrong way of thinking international business, you not only jeopardize the other country economy, but also you affect negatively your own country. Most of the companies nowadays import and export lots of products in a way to enter in global supply chain structures. If they are having difficulty to import, let's say, intermediary goods, they will have more difficulty to export final goods, for instance. So opening international borders, accessing international trade is for sure the best way for you to develop your country, your economy, and promote social and economical development. All right? Thank you, Mr. Abdullah. I have here another question from the Democratic Republic of Congo, laureate at Evangelical University of Africa, Mr. Bienvenu Pole Pole, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing properly your name, asks, I would like to know how to become a young leader in entrepreneurship. Well, that's an important, excellent question. How can you become a leader? How can you offer a distinctive contribution to the development of your community or the company you work for? Well, the first step for sure is to preparing yourself, learning more, discovering ideas, enriching your academic background. It's a way for you to speed up the process of preparing yourself for the labor market and also opening your eyes to better understand what is going on around the world. On top of it, what's the most important characteristic of a leader? Vision, the capacity of looking around, see what is going on outside the company, and then bring to the company these new ideas he or she was able to understand, to see outside the company. The leader of a company is not a dictator that imposes ideas and tells everybody to shut up. No, no. The idea of a leadership is to bring new ideas and promote the discussion, to bring oxygen to the company, promoting the rise of new leaders that will be taking their teams to a new and higher level. All right. Thank you, Mr. Bienvenu, for your question. Let me see what else I have here. Oh my gosh, I'm running out of time. The last question for today comes from Australia, the University of Sydney. Miss Joanne Tran asks, is a background in business studies required to attend the program? No. Students from different areas of knowledge, different backgrounds, can be interested in to develop managerial skills abroad. Even if your major is in a technical area like engineering or physics or law or whatever, very, very soon you can start feeling the necessity of knowing more how to deal with people, how to manage a project, how to coordinate a set of actions, how to strategize your activities. And this is why it's so important for students from different background areas to join international programs like this. You will be develop managerial skills at the same time you gain an international perspective. All right, Ms. Joanne Tran from Australia. Thank you very much. And the last question for today, please, what is the name of the person?
Miss Doriana asking.
Doriana.
Yes. Will the globalization of work and employment opportunities eventually raise the standard of living for less skilled workers too?
Doriana, that's a very tricky question. Uh, yes and no. Yes, because globalization and the development of new opportunities abroad are increasing the average of global income and bringing, of course, more opportunities, more uh, resources for poor people. But at the same time, we know by experience, by observing what is going on in the labor market, that nowadays the expectations of companies are so high in terms of workers' skills that if you are a poor people, you have a poor education or no education at all, you barely can enter in a company to do anything because think of you as a consumer. You are demanding a high level of service, a high level of products from any company that you think of buying anything from. If this company hire a profession that's not skilled, the quality of the service or the product will be reduced, and you don't want to buy a product from this company anymore. So that's why it's so important for governments and companies from all over the world to invest in the professional and academic background for their employees. Otherwise, they cannot gain more competitive advantage among their competitors, and of course, they will be stale. All right? Thank you very much, Ms. Dorianas. Thank you for sharing your opinion with us. And the last question for today is.
I asked Karimov is asking, is it a good idea to implement tax-free trade from the aspect of developing countries in order to enhance their globalization speed?
Mr. Karimov, right? I believe so. I believe that the more trade you have, the better for the country, right? The explanation, the econometric explanation for this can be a little bit complicated, but I will try to summarize the general idea for you. Think of you as an individual. If you try to do everything by yourself, like building your own house, sewing your own clothes, cooking your own meal, fixing your own watch when it's broken or whatever, the quality of your life will be reduced. Why? Because you as a person must specialize yourself in doing one specific set of things that you are really able to do, and all the rest that you need in your life you buy from others. And the same idea of specialization as an advantage in terms of the economic perspective applies to countries. If a country is able to produce a certain amount of things, the company should invest all resources, human, financial, technological resources, to produce those sort of things, export their excesses, and then import the rest of their needs. If a country raises the tariffs trying to protect internal jobs, the usual impact is that they will try to replace the imports by products, domestic products. And these domestic products will be more expensive than the imported ones. The resource that should be directed to areas of expertise the country is really able to do will be diverted to these non-interesting areas of economic of business, and the average quality of life, the average performance of the economy will be reduced. Of course, I try to summarize the idea, but in general, the more commerce you have, the better for you as an individual, as a company, and as a country too. All right? Okay, my friends, thank you very much for joining us in this presentation. It was a really pleasure for me from IBS Americas sharing this moment with you, with people from all over the world. People who is interested in to join our international programs in the United States and Europe, you will be eligible for a scholarship that covers part of your tuition costs and also provides you access to a lot of free services like the English proficiency evaluation test, like the assistance for you to get the visa to travel abroad, etc., etc. So I encourage you to join us in this program. I invite you to apply for your scholarship. You have until this next Sunday to do so. If you have any doubt, please don't hesitate in contact me. It will be my pleasure answer your questions, assisting you in this process. All right? Thank you very much and see you soon. Bye bye.